This series was developed to connect the GovCon community with federal agencies and fellow GovCon professionals to build relationships and gain key insights on upcoming procurement projects. I'm thrilled to see so many interested in this event partnership with HHS and eager to explore the opportunity for collaboration and learning. Your presence reaffirms your commitment to learning more about growing your federal footprint and seeking opportunities to build meaningful relationships. This event series is co-hosted with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and it is brought to you by the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce in partnership with GovConNet and the Veteran Institute for Procurement. I would also like to thank and introduce our sponsor for today's session. Thank you to Contemporaries Incorporated for your generous support for this event. Aaron Allen, President of Contemporaries and Chair of the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, has joined us and will provide some brief remarks. Welcome, Aaron.
Thanks, Barbara. Hi, thanks so much for having me. So hi to everybody out there. Many of you, I think I know, and it looks like we have several board members and chamber members. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the president of Contemporaries. We have been providing support solutions to Health and Human Services, I feel like since God was a baby, back in 1992, which feels like 1,000 billion years ago. Most of our work is at the National Institutes of Health, but we've also worked with FDA and CMS and a myriad of other divisions within Health and Human Services. Within NIH, we have provided support to literally every institute and center. We have several standalone contracts with them, and we provide support to both the Health and Human Services and the NIH, primarily in the DC area, but really all around the country, we have support personnel. But I really want to take a minute to thank Wayne and his team for taking the time to do this event and supporting the chamber and VIP and GovCon and all of us. It really means a lot. And I know that OSDBU in general has been a really big help to small businesses and has always been helpful to my organization. And back when we first started the business, they were really a godsend in sort of helping us figure out the pathways and how to kind of get through that. So as the chair of the chamber, I am so proud of the advocacy that we do to bring events like this to, the community, not only here in the DC area, but all around the country, on behalf of government contractors in particular. And I think some of you probably know that about 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to speak in front of the House Small Business Committee to help them work through some of the challenges that they were having in regard to the small business size standards and fixing some of those. And that was really because of the work that the Chamber and the GovConNet organization does to help advocate on behalf of small businesses. So, if you are not a member, we'd love to have you, because we'd love to have your voice around the table and kind of get your input on maybe things that we could do to help your organization as well. I'm going to pop my contact information into the chat here in a minute. If you have any questions of me, I'd be happy to answer either in this format or offline too. But as I said, if you aren't a member of the chamber, I'm also going to pop in Alexis's contact information. She can help you with that as well. So thank you again for joining us. We're super excited to have you all.
Oh, thank you so much, Aaron, for your support and your thought leadership and your advocacy, and great to have you as a partner in our efforts here. Today marks the beginning of an exciting journey as we dive into the vast landscape of procurement possibilities with HHS. Throughout this series, we have curated a lineup designed to equip you with the knowledge and resources to help navigate working with HHS and its various offices and agencies. But this isn't just a one-time event, it's the beginning of a journey. Over the next few months, we will bring to you virtual and in-person events that will continue to dive deeper into contracting with HHS, ensuring that you have the tools and support necessary to succeed. At the heart of our initiative lies a commitment to your success. We've assembled this platform to provide the resources and opportunities needed to thrive in the federal contracting space. Your feedback, your ideas, your engagement are invaluable to us. That's why we encourage you to utilize the chat box to share your thoughts, insights, and ideas throughout the session. Remember, business all begins with a conversation. Today, we're initiating that conversation, laying the groundwork for future collaborations and partnerships, but it doesn't end here. Our commitment to you extends beyond this session. Thanks to our new partnership with GovSpend, we have the ability to track outcomes and measure success to ensure that you make the most of every opportunity presented. So we want to see how much you've grown at HHS this time next year. Today, we have the honor of hearing from Wayne Berry, HHS Small Business Specialist, who will provide insights into upcoming procurement opportunities at the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality and Health Resources and Services Administration. Wayne is a small business specialist with the Health and Human Services Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, currently assigned to Health Resources Services Administration. Mr. Berry's career in civil service began in Cleveland, Ohio at the Lewis Stokes Cleveland Department of Veteran Affairs Medical Center, where he served in contracting. He was later recruited to DC as a program analyst at the Department of VA. And then Mr. Berry accepted position with HHS Small Business Office in 2011. Before I turn it over to Wayne, we ask that you please stay on mute and off camera during Wayne's presentation. Once we transition to the networking portion of this event, you can turn your cameras on. And now, please join me in welcoming Wayne Berry. Over to you, Wayne.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Barbara. And thank you to the whole team. Thank you, Aaron, for sponsoring this event. Thank you all for participating. This is the inaugural, right? This is very exciting. You guys get to say I was there when it went down, right? So this is kind of great. This is great for me because it has been a journey to get to this project. This is the first one, but it's been something that we realize is very necessary in the marketplace because when COVID hit, everybody shut down, everyone's locked out of offices. And now that that is passed, we realize that things are not going exactly back to the way they were. We realize it is very difficult to have to get FaceTime with program or contracting anymore. So there was this, we developed this initiative to address and to give small businesses as much advanced knowledge and opportunity as possible on what we need from the government, what the government needs, and how to communicate with the government and to get as far ahead of procurements as possible, right? So that's what we're doing here today. And I am deeply grateful and humbled by the number of people who are taking the time and energy to participate and hear me out. And I will do all I can to make it worth your while. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to do my best to get you to the most accurate and up-to-date information so that you may make an informed business decision. But I also need to touch on some basic things for you because we have to assume that there's some people who are not, who are just starting their journey in federal contracting. So let's do that. HHS is a massive agency. It's a civilian agency. I think it's the third or fourth largest in terms of procurement. We may do something like 40 to 60 billion in contracts. But what people don't know is we do something on the order of about 400 billion in grants. We do 10 times more money in grants than we do in contracting. What's also important to note about HHS is there are 11 operating divisions that are within HHS. And those 11 operating divisions, they're funded directly by Congress. When you heard about the COVID outbreak, there were spokespersons from Center for Disease Control. There were spokespersons from National Institutes of Health. They didn't start the introduction with HHS. They started with the specific operating divisions. Each agency, each operating division within HHS is funded directly by Congress. And that's important for you to know. They have their own contracting shops. That's important for you to know that if you're looking to do business, you need to look at each of these operating divisions as their own customer. There's no one person at HHS that's going to tell you about everything about all of the agency. What's also important for you to note is how HHS buys. Listen, HHS, and I think it's becoming a movement across the government overall, is blanket purchase agreements, GSA schedules. We have program offices. One of the things that I'm seeing now is that program offices will create a vehicle that will allow them to handle all of their procurements through that vehicle. We're going to get into one procurement that's going to be a great example. And what they're doing with it is they're saying, okay, we're going to see how many vendors we need on this. And once we make this blanket purchase agreement, there will be no more solicitations out on the street from that office. All that work will go first to the vendors on that BPA and then maybe out. But the BPA will be their first choice. All right, let's get into the actual presentation. Melissa, if you can bring up the solicitation, the slides. Thank you so much. I also want to, while we get into this, if you have questions type them into the chat. One of my team members, Natasha Boyce, is going to monitor the chat, answer questions as we go along, so that we can all stay on the same page. And those responses will be for everyone to see as we go along. All right. So I'm going to start in the lower left quadrant because that's the HHS overall performance. So we're going to start from the top on down. As you see, our small business goals for fiscal year 24, 23%, 14%, 14.7 for small disadvantaged business, 5, 3, and 5 for service-able veteran-owned. The red means we are well below those numbers. Like one of my favorite coworkers once told us, biggest room in the world is room for improvement. And as you see, we have room for improvement here. So we're working on that. Upper left-hand corner, small business performance for HRSA. Now, these dates are from the beginning of the fiscal year, so 1 October to February 23rd. So we're about 5 days behind. We didn't want to put in any information because contracting is a continuous thing. There may be awards that are happening this week that will change the numbers. So, if you went to run the same report, it would be different every day. So I put a stop at Friday. So everything is as current as a Friday, but I'm pretty sure it's different as we're into Wednesday now. As you see, HRSA is exceeding their small business goals in all categories, save women-owned small business. HRSA is a great place to work with. They're very small business friendly. They will consider 8A first. And that is a great thing. We also have some projects that are coming up that we're going to talk about with HRSA. I also cover Agency for Healthcare Research Quality. You probably never heard of AHRQ. Matter of fact, you may never have heard of HRSA, right? So I'll give you an example of what HRSA does. I call HRSA the junk drawer of healthcare. And that's not a bad thing because, there's some pretty critical stuff in your junk drawer, right? The batteries, the flashlights, screwdrivers, some stuff, but it's stuff that you don't have a place anywhere else in the house. And that's why I describe HRSA as that. HRSA handles, the poison control program. They handle suicide prevention hotline. They handle the Ryan White Foundation for HIV/AIDS. They handle, and this is a significant one. So when there is they handle the National Practitioners Database. Why is that one important? The National Practitioners Database, if there's a doctor or a care provider who settled a malpractice suit in Oklahoma and they moved to Montana, neither state has a mechanism to track those people who may be bad actors. There's no way to track a repeat offender. And we're talking lives. So Congress directed HRSA to create a database, a national database that collects the data of these folks who were convicted or, settled a malpractice suit or what have you. And therefore, hiring hospitals and healthcare providers can research this database and identify these people for their additional consideration if they want to hire those folks. HRSA does that. AHRQ. Let's move on to AHRQ. Now, again, AHRQ has a lot of room for improvement. What they do is very important too. They're one of the smaller agencies. You may not have heard of them, but I will tell you, AHRQ does very important things. One of the most important things that AHRQ does, when you talk about hospital visits, emergency visits, when politicians are talking about, oh, it's $1,000 to get an ambulance ride, or the hospital stays, or the mortality rates of hospitals is doing this or that. You do realize that we're talking about thousands of counties, states, and local governments. There is no one entity that tracks all of that except for the federal government. And AHRQ is the agency responsible for accumulating all of this data, aggregating this data, and standardizing the information in a way that it can be shared to the public so that we can ensure the quality of our healthcare and to improve on the quality of our healthcare. I'm sorry, I've been here at HHS for 13 years. I geek out over this stuff. I really enjoy working for the HHS, and I really enjoy the mission that each of these people have because it's so very important to the American people and humanity overall. So let me just keep going with the time. Now, I got to give OSDBU some time. So in the lower right-hand corner, we're going to talk about SBCX. SBCX, if I haven't inundated you with enough acronyms already, SBCX is the Small Business Customer Experience. It is a web-based customer relationship management tool that allows us to do everything small business related at HHS. We keep track of vendors who want to do business at HHS. They may register their company in our database. When we're conducting market research, if I'm sending an announcement to vendors saying, hey, we have this opportunity, the first place I look is in SBCX. What's great about this system, SBCX is tied to SAM. So all of your business information, if it's listed in SAM, we can pull it in SBCX. And you don't have to fill out all your information or anything like that. Once again, your award history, your UEI, your small business certification, whatever socioeconomic categories, the description, your capability statement, all of that ports over from SAM into SBCX. What else is going on with the SBCX? It provides the public with information regarding our upcoming events, where our staff is going to be, things that OSDBU hosts throughout the year. And it provides you with, if you have challenges, say you're having challenges, it provides you with a customer service hotline where you can reach out to us and ask for assistance. It also provides you with our contact information. The forecast of contracting opportunities is listed in SBCX. It has been updated for fiscal year 21-24, so you can go into it. You can search by the NAICS code of your choice. You can download it by the NAICS code of your choice. It's all good to go. Next slide, please.
Hey, Wayne, real fast, can we add the direct link to SBCX into the chat for everybody?
Yes, Natasha's going to do that. If she hasn't already, we're going to do that for you.
Fabulous, thank you.
Also, these slides are available to you all in this presentation. We're going to share that with you. Where am I with time? I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good with time. We have
right.
another, yep. You
Thank you.
keep going.
Thank you. All right, let's rock. All right, so let's talk about rules of engagement. In this category, listen, this is our first time trying this out, so these titles may change. But right now, we're going to talk about it under rules of engagement. How do you engage with the government post-COVID, right? I got to tell you, I'm a second-generation small business owner. I know what it's like to buy, sell, do stuff, make profits, lose money, go out of business, start it over. Don't get me started. But I've never marketed to the federal government. There are very few federal employees who have marketed to the federal government. So when you get advice from people, I need you to be careful. You want to follow those who have successfully been where you are trying to go. If there's anything I could tell you, all right? Best practice for the way HHS operates. Now, I can't speak for all federal agencies. And even within HHS, the operating divisions are very different. I have one operating division that will call me up and say, this is what we're thinking about doing. What do you want to do? Whatever. I have another operating division that calls me sparingly. We're working on politeness. So what I'm trying to explain to you is where you get in is first is you definitely want to say hello to the small business specialist. You want to, introduce yourself to contracting where you can. That's great. But if you're doing that, when you're doing that kind of correspondence, especially the contracting, be specific about a requirement. Be specific. When there are notices, when there's a special notice, when there's a source of salt notice, when there's a RFI, respond and do it. Be strategic, be specific to the response. I've been on the inside of the government. I've had these conversations with program and contracting, and the number one reason why they are able to dismiss a small business from consideration is, yeah, they responded, but their capability statement was general. They didn't even give me the impression that they understood what the work was about. Don't be there. Follow up with the points of contact. So you see the forecast of contracting opportunity, you see an opportunity, you're very interested in it. Now, our OSDBU website says, hey, let us know if you want to know about something. Don't do that. Don't do that. In many of these operating divisions that I cover, I don't know what's going on. If you have a point of contact in the forecast, respond to the forecast and respond to the point of contact in the forecast. And here's what I would say. Hello, we are awesome. We're great. Here's our experience. Here's our capability statement. We're interested in this specific requirement. You want to address the specific requirement. You do not want to talk in general. We're great. We're awesome. Can we come in and talk to you about what we can do and how we can leverage our abilities and experience to help you in your organization? Those general emails are immediately dismissed. Immediately. So if you're capable and you see an opportunity, respond to that opportunity specifically and succinctly. Let them know, please, we are an interested party. If you are not available to talk, please consider us on your interested parties list and notify us when the solicitation is out on the street or for any further need to discuss with the private sector. Something like that. All right. Rules of engagement, done. The other thing I need you to understand too, we'll get into it. So let's get into the T. The T. We're going to call this section now. Listen, we're not going to talk about anything that's, everyone's got a family. We know what it's like that when you're fighting within the family, we keep it in the family. So I'm not going to talk about anything controversial or very, damaging or anything like that. But I will tell you what I think you need to know that's changing within the environment that you may find helpful business-wise. So we have two heads of contracting who are leaving the agency, and this is going to be interesting for many of you because both of them have been, it's like the sun coming up every day, right? It's just a fact. It's just what it is. And all of a sudden one day it's not. Bonnie Garcia will be moving on to NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology, which is a subsection of the Department of Commerce. She will be heading up the CHIPS Act, whatever procurements they need for the CHIPS Act. She served at HRSA for at least 25 years. And she will be head of contracting at NIST. Diane Frazier who is the head of contracting at the National Institutes of Health. She has been an icon in this organization. She was the person who started the NITAC, amongst several revolutionary procurement initiatives. She will be retiring after 40 plus years of federal service. We have no idea who's replacing either of them at this point. And outside, for the private sector side, the NCMA, National Contract Management Association, has a new chapter, and that will be in Prince George's County. So I don't know if you all live in Prince George's County, it's south of DC. They're going to have a new chapter, and I think it's going to be a very popular one because a lot of contracting and program people tend to live in that area. Upcoming opportunities. Let's get to some of this good stuff right here. So out on the street right now, well, there was a sources sought announcement that's been on the street, and it is for National Institutes of Health. We have the link here. Now that announcement is probably closed, but the point of contact should still be there. So you want to let them know, hey, we're an interested party. Let us know what's going on when the announcement comes out. And also testing laboratories is happening too. Like, once again, we're going to share these slides so you'll get to see it for yourself. Coming into the last quadrant, the Organ Procurement Transportation Network. So this is going back, OPTN, they have a very special mission directed by Congress to handle OPTN. And the office who does that is creating a BPA, blanket purchase agreement, and it's going to have several vendors on it, so that whatever needs they have from here on out will route through that BPA first, and the awards will be task orders instead of putting it out on the street and working. It's going to be they're looking for faster, more economical ways of procuring things, and this is how they're doing it. And this is going on across HHS. So just to give you an idea of that. Now, last thing before I go, what I did, there's two things I really geek out over, three things: History Channel, small business program, and data. I geek out over data. These opportunities are some of what we've done, what I have to share with you. But what we also have is an Excel spreadsheet of all HHS announcements from today until September 30, and it numbers over 200 requirements. It is everything, and it's also the points of contact. The points of contact to respond and the link to the announcements. A word of caution. Here's the thing. It's not, I shouldn't have said it. I oversold it. I apologize. It's not everything. It is everything that is on the system for award management, What it does not have is GSA information. Any RFI, any announcements on GSA, I do not have access to that. I apologize. So I cannot report it. I will tell you that across federal contracting, the shift is to GSA type announcements and things like that. I would say something like 30% of the requirements we do now are going through GSA.
Normally, we would do the direct payment, but I have two bank accounts, and Sam put the deposit in the wrong account. It's out of Michigan.
I think you
so-
need to mute. I'm sorry, someone's talking. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm all done anyway. So this is great. That was a great break. So
Okay, well, then
this
we
is
are
gonna
going to
be-
open it up for questions
Yep.
then.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, at least you didn't give out the bank account number. That's good.
Yeah, way to stop it.
Yeah, yeah. So at this point, what we'd like to do is take a few questions. First of all, thank you, Wayne, for that great information. Very helpful to get some history, some perspective. And I do love your in there, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. So we're here to help HHS with that room of improvement and hit all those goals across the agency, of course.
We need it.
Absolutely. We're here to help. So we have a time for a few questions. Please use the hand raise feature in the Zoom toolbar, right? And I will call on you. You can unmute and ask your question to Wayne directly. First hand that I see is Donna Sherrod. Donna, unmute, ask your question, please.
Hi, thank you, and thank you, Wayne. Quick question. I'm hearing a lot about these BPAs, different agencies making requests. Can you give a little bit more information on how a company gets on one of these BPAs? How do you navigate that?
Great question. So how do you get on the BPA? The BPA, and you know, it's very important that you ask this question. I'm glad that you came to this. The BPA, the blanket purchase agreement, it's a solicited out on the street, and everyone who's interested, they can respond to the BPA. Once a BPA has been established, the agency may or may not require small business program review or any other kind of oversight. Because the BPA is considered, the entire acquisition process is considered at the BPA establishment. So if you're a small business, this is where, and OSDBU, the small business program across all federal agencies, we're required to review an acquisition, especially over a large one, to ensure that small business have been considered in the procurement process. We only get one bite at the apple, and that's at the establishment of the BPA. Once the BPA is established, every task order is solicited within that BPA. And the only time a small business may protest about, bundling or consolidation is if the actual task order is greater than, I think, $10 million. So this is why I love these conversations, because a lot of times the small business community is aware of what's out on the street where OSDBU does not. I hope that answers your question. So to answer your question, how to get onto the BPA, at the time they are soliciting for a BPA, that's when you want to solicit, or that's when you want to submit your information, and that's when you get on.
Thank you,
And
Wayne.
and last thing, they rarely have a clause that allows, let's say you got so much work on that BPA that you're no longer small. They rarely have a ramp off, ramp on feature. So once you're on, you're on. If you're out, you got to wait till that BPA expires. And with that, I yield my time.
Erin, you had a follow-up on that?
Yeah, I was just going to say NIH has sort of a rolling BPA for small businesses in particular. Theirs are a little different in that they do require that you have done some work at NIH in some capacity. So you have to have some proof of past performance there at NIH. But it is sort of a rolling BPA program, but only for small businesses.
And that's just NIH that you're aware of. Okay.
That's just NIH. So And for that, you would reach out to the BPA office at NIH about getting onto that BPA, and you'd submit a proposal and go through the whole same vetting process, but there's a sort of a rolling ramp on, ramp off, unlike some of the others within HHS.
Excellent, great. We have another hand up. Josh Goldstein, please unmute and ask your question to Wayne Barry, please.
Hey, Wayne, I have a two-part question. The first question is, we worked on a very, very large American-made PPE solicitation through HHS and NIH as a combination. It was completed 6 months ago. There's been no award that we're aware of. It's kind of crickets. And in that solicitation, 40% of the $90 million was estimated to go to small business. Am I badgering them if every month I say, what's up? Or do I just have to sit and be quiet? Like, I mean, there's no information. It's been a long time. I mean, it's been 6 months. They're saying by fiscal year end, something's going to happen, but there's no communication.
Okay, so Josh, so your question is, if I ask for a follow-up regarding this BPA, which we have not received any work recently from, how will it be perceived by HHS?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I've already done it once, and I don't know if I should keep doing it. Like, am I just annoying them, or is there something? Is it appropriate?
Well, you know, I mean, honestly, it's kind of, listen, I'm wrestling with this. I'm really wrestling with this. Like my first reaction is if they need you, they'll reach out to you. PPE, there was so much with PPE. We got boxes of PPE stuff all over the place left over. I would be, if I saw the agency or your customer buying PPE stuff from other vehicles or other ways, then I would be concerned. But they probably just don't have a need for it right now.
So this was very specific, Buy American only. Like, it was very specific to specific PPE that needed to be very compliant. Like, that was the gist of it.
Absolutely.
And it was pretty significant. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that they're buying anywhere else. I mean, they supposedly they're still reviewing it. I just don't know what an appropriate timeline is for this stuff. So I'll wait another month and I'll give it another shot and see if they respond. The other quick question is, and not just HHS, agencies in general, if you see solicitations that come out and they're not offering small business opportunities, but you really feel like you could do this, like, why are they not doing this? Would you go to the OSDBU in that agency and say, hey, look at this. How come they're not letting this be a small business opportunity? Is that something we can do?
You know, I am bound to tell you what your options are.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what I would do. I'm going to tell you what your options are. You have an option to go to the SBA Procurement Center representative, because every federal agency has a PCR who reviews small business acquisition reviews. You have an option to go to an agency operating OSDBU. And it depends on who you have a good relationship with, who do you believe, and you know, it's so gray, right? There's so many nuances. You just don't want to put yourself in a place where you may be blackballed, or maybe there may be people may say, this guy's trouble. But if you have a relationship, right? You didn't say that. You didn't say that. No one, you would never done that. But you have to look at the relationships that you've developed either at the OSDBU or at your SBA office, and who can advocate on behalf of you and minimize the blowback.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And with that, I yield my time. I think Mega's got it.
Yes,
Mega's got
well,
a question.
yeah, but you're bringing up a good point. Use your advocates. They're there
Yeah.
for a reason, right? So your PCR is your advocate, right?
Well,
Right,
and
so-
also I would say that's why it's really super important to
Yeah.
respond to those RFIs.
Yes.
That if you get in there and you let them know, and hopefully there's been 3 companies, you recruit all your other small business guys, that's when you need to talk to your competitors to make sure they're responding to those RFIs. Because if they don't get 3 responses, they immediately can say, whoop, nobody can do it. We can put it out as full and open.
That's exactly true. That's exactly true. Thank you so much, Aaron. And I'm also, I got to tell you, I am jealous of your pink blazer. I think it's awesome, but we get beside the point. She makes an excellent point in that if you don't respond to the source, that is one of the fastest ways for program and contracting to dismiss small business from consideration. We didn't get enough capable responses from small business.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. We're going to take another question. Mr. Devon, you have Magda Devon, you have your hand up. Please unmute, sir.
Hey, thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Wayne. Pleasure meeting you again. Appreciate you taking time. I have, one single question, but a couple of parts, all related to sources sort. Interestingly, we did respond to the data analytics and statistical products sources sort. What I wanted to ask you is it okay in copying the OSDBU lead for those respective agencies? When we respond to the sources sort, they get to know that we have responded, or do you think it is better to just send it to the contracting officers listed in the sources sort and then forward it to the OSDBU? That is my first question on a sources sort.
Listen, Maga, you do whichever way is going to work. Like I try not to give people like a step-by-step instruction, because I've seen people do things that I would never have done and it worked. I've seen people do exactly what they were told and it didn't work. So I will say, use your best, use your best judgment. But I do have a specific example of why it's so important to reach out to the small business office really quickly. So I have an agency that I covered, and I got a notice from a small business for a requirement. Now, this contract was a, need you to mute your phone, please. Thank you. So it was a BPA. There were 5 firms on this BPA. Each firm had 300 million as the ceiling on this BPA. It was massive, right? And the small business reached out to us and said, hey, Wayne, this is the sources sought announcement that's coming out, but let me tell you the history of this requirement. This is the second generation of this requirement. And before, the previous requirement had a couple of small businesses, and they were so successful, they graduated from the small business program. Because I got that information from the small business, I could go to program and contracting and say, hey, I see the sources sought announcement was out. I see it closed. What are the results of that sources sought announcement? Well, we got 18 responses from small business, but none of them were considered capable. Ooh, see, Aaron cocked her head sideways like that. Don't sound right.
Are you sure?
Right. Now, from us on the inside, those who are in the small business program and in the private sector, you don't submit something because it costs time and money. If you don't think you can do it, you're either taking the time and effort and money to do it, or you just scattershot blanket sending out a bunch of them. Now, of 18, I imagine there was someone where people were just throwing something on the wall to see what would stick. But that correspondence generated a conversation with the NIH Small Business Program Office, generated a conversation with program and CO, the senior executives in that program office. That thing went from, and it's been a year and it's still going on, because we found, hey, you evaluated these small businesses inappropriately. They've demonstrated capability. What was the evaluation that you went through to consider all 18 of these people that should have been considered? So again, and the last thing I got to tell you, listen, there are about 7 small business, 8, 9, now there's about 9 small business specialists now. That covers all of HHS, 40 billion contracts, 40 billion in contracts. There are, I think, how do I count this? There's 11 at NIH. There's about 20 contracting offices across HHS with 50 contracting professionals on average in each contracting center. We just can't cover all that ground. There's just not enough cops on the beat, right? So if you all are not telling us what's going on and also engaging in the process, we don't know.
This is sort of like if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
It's exactly like if you see
yeah,
something. Say
That's
something.
exactly right. One thing though, I will say, Wayne, is that, you know, I will have mercy on your all specialists, is that I wouldn't say as a matter of course to CC you guys on every source aside and every RFI, because graciously, you guys are already up to your eyeballs. But if you're not getting response, I would for sure, that's when I would loop in that OSDBU office. You should be working with and getting to know those OSDBU folks already, so that then if something bad does come to pass, then you can reach out like, hey, Wayne, I could use a little help over here, right?
Right. Right. That's exactly the rule of engagement. You want to respond to the point of contact, let them know you're an interested party. If you need to follow up, then you follow up. But if they go dark on you, if they're not responding at all, that's exactly when you want to bring in OSDBU. I see Asia Holloway.
Well, you know, I hate to do this, Wayne, but we are out of time.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. Now it's time for our networking breakout sessions. As we prepare to go into the breakout session rooms, I encourage each of you to take the opportunity to connect with fellow attendees, exchange ideas, and forge new connections. After all, it's through these relationships that lasting partnerships are formed. Now, everyone is going to be randomly, it's an algorithm. We all get, you know, randomly put into rooms. Even Wayne, you're going to get zapped into a room, and Aaron's going to get zapped into a room. I'm going to get zapped into a room, everyone. And you'll and each room will last 15 minutes. Once the 15 minutes is up, you will be brought back to the main room for a moment before being placed into a new breakout room with new group of people. Please make the most of these 15 minutes and network like a pro. We encourage kicking off with each person giving a very brief introduction. And remember, these conversations, it all begins with a conversation. All business begins with a conversation, could lead to lucrative partnerships. So let's embark on this journey. Let's arm ourselves with the new knowledge and seize this opportunity. And when we're all done with, we're going to do this 3 times. And when we are done with breakout, we're coming back to the main room. Okay, Melissa is going to launch. Are we ready to launch, Melissa, to the first breakout?
Yep, we are ready.
First breakout room. I'm ready.
We're ready, Barbara.
Zap me. Yeah. And you have to hit the button join.
Can everybody hear me?
Hi there, I can hear you. Do you want to go to
Looks like we're in a group, so Unless anybody else wants to, I can start. Mark Griffin, McCook Mechanical Services in McCook, Nebraska. That's me.
Mark, I think you didn't end up in the room that you were supposed to go to. So we're gonna work on getting you moved over there here in just a second.
We made it back.
I'm back. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We're back in the
Hello, good
room.
afternoon, everyone.
Lovely to
Here
see
we
you.
Great.
go.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. How are you? So this
Hello,
is your
hello.
opportunity to meet each other and tell each other about what you do and hopefully build relationships and go after those big opportunities.
Are we gonna go into
Hi, Dorothy.
another small breakout room?
After this one.
After this one, okay, got it.
Recording in progress.
Hello, did you have
Oh,
fun?
wow. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
That was
Hello.
crazy.
There's a lot of us in this one.
Yeah, this is not, something's going on. Let me
No,
just.
this is, we're all back at the main room, I think.
This is
right?
the
This is
main
all the main room. We go to the main room for a minute.
Yep, and then
And
we'll
Now we're
go.
gonna go to.
Everybody comes back to the main room and then we get zapped again or beamed to another room.
I'm getting dizzy.
Barbara, this is Linda. Can we get video
Wow,
on so that we can see the people we're talking to?
Oh, we all had
You've got
video.
us locked. You've got it
Yeah.
locked. You've got us locked out.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the same way
Oh.
for me.
I wasn't locked out. Okay.
Yes, I'm going to chime in. This is Gigi, and I just moderated a group. We had a great time, but we couldn't get our cameras on either.
Oh,
In our
well,
group,
it's interesting because in our group, we all had our cameras on. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
we did.
Same
We were
with
fine.
mine. Mine was
Yeah,
fine.
my camera is
Mine
locked
is-
out also too.
It's a very selective lockout.
well, I sent a
random.
text. I sent a text message to the team. It's like our group is locked out. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I'm sorry.
Well, I hope no one
We
takes it
couldn't even
personal.
get couldn't even get the
Not
chat to
at all.
work.
There's a reason.
Right. It's our first time. It's a learning curve. We're gonna do better.
Yeah, no, so some of the groups.
So, yeah.
I will say there's a lot of developers probably on this call. I'm sure somebody here can figure out something.
I got a solution. I'm sure someone's got a solution.
Oh,
Yeah, we're working on it, guys. That's, I know.
okay, yeah, like I said, our group was fine, so who
Our
knows?
session went really well.
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, I want to take a moment to tell you that Joshua Blow from the Small Business Office here at HHS is also joining our conversation. Joshua, we're going from room to room right now, so you're probably going to be dropped into another room, and feel free to share your insight. Joshua did contracting for years. He did SBA as a procurement center representative, and then he came to join our office. There is nobody who knows the small business program better than Joshua Blow.
Ooh,
Wayne, don't
good
build me
to
up. Don't build me up too much, Wayne. That's too.
I can't do it enough. I can't do it enough.
I'm glad.
He's also got a voice for radio, so I'm not jealous at all.
That's great.
I'll put my information in the chat a little bit later before the day is over. So I'm looking forward to engaging with you all. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us, Joshua.
Yeah, Joshua has a choice of things to do. He was inundated with work, and he found some time to come and join us anyway on late notice because he didn't know about this until today. So thank you very much for coming in, Joshua. Appreciate the support.
Thank you.
That's great. Great. Well, I hope everybody's having those conversations. It all begins with a conversation in business. So take this as an opportunity to make sure you're getting to know each other. Melissa from the team, are we standing by to be
We're ready.
we're ready? Then beam us to the next one. Beam us up, Scotty. Hit join.
Is there anybody here from the organizers?
Yes, we have a few staff members in this room.
Hi, Aaron. I was just put in a room with some of the same people. I was just wondering if you could put me in a room with some new people.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know can you like name someone that, I don't want to put you back in the same?
Yeah, I was just in with Christy Venable and Drew in the last session. So as long as it's with, I was with Christy twice. We agreed one of us would jump out, so I jumped out.
Okay, let me,
Aaron, that was room 10.
okay. Now let me find your name and move you to another room.
Thank you.
We're coming back. How many people? We don't have everybody back yet. So
This is so much fun. I like the breakout rooms.
I hope you're enjoying it, Dan.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. It's great to meet other folks. So
Absolutely.
they're all coming back. There's Mr. Carroll. I met him in the first time.
This is Kip at Fairwood. I'm throwing a question at, I guess, Wayne, perhaps.
You have no work to do?
Will there be any distribution of participants of this meeting, to, so individuals can follow up if they choose to?
We're going to send out the chat. So if you put your information in the chat, you will have the contact.
Oh, cool. Great idea, Dorothy.
Okay.
I'm glad you answered that. Dorothy
Oh, thanks,
works for
Barbara.
the team there.
Thank you.
And Kevin, you were in the middle of a sentence. You said, we got to connect to vet somebody. Where's Kevin?
Kevin Bookman?
Kevin, no, Tony. I was sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, it was
Tony. Yeah,
Tony
sorry.
Martin said that. Tony
Yes.
Martin.
So Vint Cerf is the person that was instrumental in creating the internet before it became the internet. It was called ARPANET in 1960. So this was the military network before it became the internet that we had access to in 1994. Vint Cerf is the person that wrote the TSPAPI protocol that allows the internet to communicate across international waters and domestically. So Vint Cerf, he worked with us. I worked with him. Make it very clear when we're at level 3 communications. Vint Cerf is now at Google. He wrote the TSPAPI protocol that allows voice over IP to be implemented in the 1990s. So that's why Vint Cerf is a person you want to look up to understand where we are with autonomous driving systems, because that's the same protocol that's driving the technology of AI and today.
And can you spell that? It's V, like V as in Victor?
VINT.
Vent, VINT. Okay.
CERF. CERF. C as in cat, E as in echo, R as in Robert, F as in Frank.
Oh, pretty interesting. Okay, awesome.
Can you put your information in the chat box?
I'm sorry.
Yes, I can.
Tony, did you put your information in the chat box?
Barb, we're going to go into the last
Okay.
networking rooms.
Awesome. Okay, beam us up. I'm loving it. Thank you.
Waiting for Melissa. She'll beam us up.
Okay,
There she is.
There's Scotty.
We're back, Melissa. Everybody's coming back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. By the room.
Dan, I don't know why, but you're always the first, always coming up. Full screen.
All coming back to home base. We made it. We didn't lose
We're back.
anybody in the ether world, I hope. Welcome back. I hope you all had a very productive and meaningful conversations, right? It all begins with that conversation. And I want to thank Wayne Berry again for reaching out to us and offering this opportunity to the communities we serve here in Montgomery County Chamber, the GovConnect Council for their support and everything GovCon, as well as with the Veteran Institute for Procurement. And Aaron, without your leadership and support, at the end of the day, nothing happens. So what a great team. And please stay tuned for more information on our upcoming virtual event on March 27th with Wayne, and he's bringing a guest from HHS. More information. We don't keep things a secret around here, so you will know and get invited to that. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you liked. We're here always we're always working on that biggest room, which is called the Room for Improvement. I love it. Everybody have a great day and go win something. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Wayne.
Kentucky.
Thanks,
everyone.
Thank you.
all.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Great day.
God bless. Be safe.
Have a good one, y'all.
That was fun.
I think you sold some pink jackets. Oh, by the way,
I know, right? I should have put a little.
there's going to be a run on them, just so you know.
Yeah.
And I'm going to attribute it to Aaron.
Well, I don't like to fade into the background after all, as you know.
No, you never want to be that. No, well, this is great. I met some really cool people.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get everyone out, Barbara.
Yeah, let's.